All right, we are. This hangout on air is live. I like reading that when it's on there. This is Alicia Stringer, empowering you to success dreams. We got a Millionaire Mindset Hangout with a special guest today, KEALA, and he is in Hawaii, which means it is 8 o'clock in the morning their time. Waking him up.
He rarely up at this early.
We're buzzing him to get his naked butt out of bed to join us. So in the meantime, we're gonna have a little intro for you guys. See if you can check out on your video page right here and see if there's a way to clap, because they added some audience features and I thought that was pretty cool. So if you can clap, go ahead and give us some claps. We're going to get this rolling with some...
He's waking up. He's on his way, FYI.
He's on his way, so stay tuned. We're going to introduce you, the superwomen on this panel. We have over here Valerie that's just popping out of her seat, just so excited to have KEALA out here. So I want to introduce her first. Go ahead. Tell us about you, where you are from, and why you're so excited.
Hey. All right, for those who don't know me, Valerie Jampolsky, single mom with the twins. So if you've ever seen me with the twins, you know that's me. So, yeah, I'm very excited about KEALA coming on, and you know he's someone that's on our team. It's just he is a very successful in our business. One of the things that's so powerful that you're in a treat for. Get ready to take notes. Get ready to, you know, as you're watching this, to really noticing yourself becoming inspired, because this man has the ability to really speak life into people. He's very powerful, and he has some great. He's going to be sharing with us what the most powerful shift to his success. And any of you that have ever had the pleasure of being connected to KEALA on any of his trainings, you're in for a treat. You're absolutely in for a treat. He's a man with big heart. Big guy. He's like, you might look at him and you think, oh, he's actually really a teddy bear inside. You take a look, you might not think that, but he's a total teddy bear, and a very powerful speaker, powerful guy. And I'm just excited for all of you watching, and I'm excited to be here to go through the experience of, whenever this guy talks, transformations happen. It's a cool thing. So,
love it, Valerie. And then we have Greta over here, all giggles and smiles on either ends of her cheeks, blushing with pink. And I'm excited to introduce her out here in Canada. And tell us why you're so excited, Greta.
Woohoo!
There's KEALA.
Good morning. How do we say it? Aloha?
Aloha.
Yes.
Aloha, KEALA. Oh, we were just introducing ourselves. We're so happy to have you on with us today. I mean, we've just been blown away by everything that you've been doing, and we're so excited to have you on the show with us today. By the way, I am Greta Campagnolo, and I live on Vancouver Island, BC, Canada. So I'm also an island girl, a little different here, but super excited to be here and hear what's about to be revealed, and also for you to be here with us and to enjoy being completely captivated by this man and his words and his story. So,
thank you, Greta. And we have a guest beside KEALA that just came on, is Keisha. She's sitting behind her UCam, but I know she can speak out there. Speak out, girl.
Hey, guys, this is week 2 with this issue. I don't know this. KEALA, I'm so excited to see your face down there. Guys, listen, when you hear my voice, just imagine you're listening to a podcast, okay? But KEALA is going to have some awesome, phenomenal information for you today about how he just transformed his life with what he's going to share with you. I'm so excited because I had the opportunity to get some of his training just last week, and it has really changed my life. He has blessed me with that, KEALA, and I've been using it daily since. So guys, please listen, help us welcome KEALA KANAE.
Thanks, Keisha. Thank you. So Keisha apparently can't be seen, and my camera a couple of days ago started making everything look blue. So I look blue, but that's okay because blue is a color of trust. So as you continue watching, you may feel a sense of trust in everything that we say and share on this Hangout. So, ladies, where do we get started? Well, you know, what do you wanna talk about? What do you want to cover? You wanna just ask me questions and have me answer them? You just want me to go on a rampage and just run fast and break stuff? Where are you at with that?
You're welcome to do any and all the above. The most important thing we're having here at the Millionaire Mindset is to help people overcome what was your most powerful shift that happened in your life and your business to go from, you know, that struggle that you were in to just make everything boom. What was that moment like? What was that story like? I think so many people can get to understand from going from the struggle to that big powerful shift. That was it the mindset? What was it exactly in your life?
And how you got there. And yes, please break stuff.
Yes, please break stuff. All right, so that's a good question. So what was probably the most powerful shift in my business?
Your mindset, yeah.
I guess the biggest shift would definitely be belief. You know, so what I found is that and I spend a lot of time studying this stuff, and what I've found is that our results in life, whatever they are, will always be a direct reflection of what we believe about ourselves or what is possible, right? There's nobody out there that's getting a result that they just cannot possibly believe in. Now, you might get people who say, well, you know, I can't believe I'm living this life right now. Because sometimes I say that. Sometimes I might say that about myself. You know, like I went on a vacation recently. My girlfriend and I, you know, we went to Seattle, went to Colorado, and then we went over to like San Francisco. And while I was on vacation, not working at all, not emailing my list, not getting on the phone, not doing any of the rigmarole of my business for 2 weeks, did like another $10,000 in personal income. Now, that's not a guarantee of income, obviously, guys, so, you know, there's an income disclaimer. My results are not typical because I made a decision about 2 years ago to stop being typical. So sometimes I might say to myself, well, you know, while we were on that trip, and money's like flowing into the bank account, I'm thinking, like, I can't believe this is my life right now. You know, I get to go do these things and enjoy my time and spend time with the people that I love and just like have a vacation and earn a 5-figure monthly income while I'm not working. You know what I mean? However, behind that is a subconscious belief that this is the life that I can create. Right? I had to first believe that it was possible for that to actually happen before it happens. And so what I found was, like, for a long time, even once I understood that, because I learned that back in 2009 when I got started in like personal development and started working on myself and stuff. But it wasn't until 2012. So even though I understood that concept consciously, I couldn't tap in to my personal power on an unconscious level, because I've had all of these, you know, subconscious limiting beliefs. Now, recognize that, like, I failed for 11 years as an aspiring entrepreneur. I started my first business at 18 years old, doing like nightclub promotions, and then I went from that to, you know, buying and selling cars, to starting my own clothing line, to working in the mortgage industry, working as a financial advisor, you know, selling life insurance, you know, dabbled in sports betting, dabbled in poker. Like there was a point in my life where I was playing poker 6 nights a week, reading all the poker books. And I would do good. I'd do pretty good, but you know, it's very unstable. Okay? I just had this dream for a long time of not having to, you know, have a job, not having to you know, not having somebody else tell me where to go, what time to be there, what I could wear, how I could dress, how I could speak, who I could talk to, who to hang out with. You know what I mean? Like having somebody just kind of oppress my inner being in order to fit into their model of what they wanted, their business to look like or whatever, right? Sort of being a slave to someone else's dream. I want to be, the captain of my own ship, the designer of my own destiny. And after 11 years of failing at that miserably in almost everything that I did, now I had some minor successes here and there in between there, just nothing that ever really lasted. So you can understand when I'm going through that, there's all these subconscious beliefs that begin being created, right, about what's possible for me, right? That, it becomes this like subconscious belief that like I'm a failure, or I can't do this, or this doesn't work, or I'm not good enough, right? That one is a killer one. That one, like, everyone has that belief at some level or another. I'm not good enough, right? And so I had those things going on in my mind, of course. And in 2012, I can tell you that ultimately the shift was shifting from that to a strong subconscious belief that I can create this, that I am capable of this, that I am worthy of this, right? Now for me, the event that helped to make that happen was an Empower Network event in San Diego, where I was sitting in the audience listening to Dave Wood speak on stage, and he said something, and he did it in a very hypnotic, in a very NLP fashion, right? And I knew what he was doing at the time because I'd been starting to study that stuff. And it didn't matter because it still worked. But he said something from that stage, and he instantly, I mean instantly, I knew. Instantly, my life changed. I knew at the moment it happened. Right? There was this literally like seconds, a ripple in time, right? A fraction of time that most people would overlook, where I was feeling myself internally transform. Right? And I knew within moments of that happening that everything was going to change. And literally, the next month I came home, had never really, made any money online after struggling for like 2 years on the internet trying to figure the thing out. Next month did like $2,700. Within 6 months I was quitting my job. Month 7 I was having $15,000 months, and then just growing from there. So it was just that one transformation. So ultimately what I would say is that the transformation is really a transformation in belief. And understanding that while you may think, no, I am capable of that, I do deserve this. On a conscious level you might think that, but if your results are not reflecting back to you that, then there is something going on unconsciously that's keeping you from having it. And until you can accept that and be honest with yourself about that, then it makes it really difficult, or if not impossible, to break through whatever that is, right? So does that answer that question? Did anybody have any feedback on that?
Yeah. How do you find out that was your unconscious or your subconscious? Like, how were you aware of that feeling, or that you just knew then? Because I was like right there with you in San Diego, going, I can do this. I finally made that decision. I went all in, at that event, and there's so many little tiny shifts that's happened. But what was that, like, subconscious? Like, how do you know it's in your subconscious? Like
well, the short answer of that is that you don't. That's why it's called the subconscious, right? It's like a submarine. You don't see it. It's underwater. You know what I mean? You might be able to figure, that something's there, right? You might use some sonar or something to know that the submarine's there, but you can't actually see it. So the subconscious mind is like one of those things where you're completely unconscious of it. Now you can bring certain things to the surface. So maybe like to go back a little bit, I studied psychology in college, right? So I studied psychology for like 6 years. Right? They say the average college student, or they say that the average college student is in school like 4.5 to 5 years. Well, it took me 6 because I'm above average. Okay, let's say that's how we'll frame it. So I studied that stuff, and that was where I first started learning about like the subconscious mind and things like that. So how I learned more so about it though is hanging around entrepreneurs and successful people, and I had successful. I had the, in 2009, I got to start working around a group of people who were successful, and these are the types of things that they talked about. And I started reading different material that explained, how, our mind works. And because once I recognized, okay, so here's the thing. It's like most people think that what they need is a new job, what they need is a new business, what they need is a new strategy, what they need is a new opportunity, a new boss, a new company, whatever it is, right? Because most people are focused on the fruits, right? Imagine for a moment yourself as a tree, right? And we have, of course, our fruits, right? The fruits of our labor, the fruits of our time, the fruits of our energy, whatever it is. Now, most people, and it doesn't take you long to figure this out, most people are not happy with the fruits, right? Most people aren't happy with their job, they're not happy with their income, they're not happy with their lifestyle, they're not happy with the results that they have, they're looking for something greater. And the challenge is that they'll never find it as long as they want to change the fruit. Because a tree's fruit does not change, right? That's what it is grown to bear. That's what it will always bear. But most people are focused on the fruit. And the challenge is, the problem is really at the root, right? That's where the problem is. So while most people will focus on changing the fruits, I learned to start working on the roots. That's the difference, right? Working on what's going on beneath the surface that I can change to get a new fruit, right? And so, there was a study I read. There was a study I read in, I think it was 2012, from this psychologist who had been studying like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people for a few years. And in his study, he declared that 95% of everything we do, say, think, on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis, 95% is unconscious, right? It's subconscious. So the thing is that we live inside of this illusion, this bubble, as if we're in control. And we have to live inside of that illusion so that we feel like a sense of identity, right? So we can feel like, we're making choices, we're doing things, like I have some control over what's going on. But in reality, 95% of the way that you show up in life was like predetermined, was pre-programmed into you by the time you're 8 years old. So we're like, right now, most people are like a giant 8-year-old running around, honestly, right? That's what they are. Okay. Now the good news is that we can change that at any time. We just change it over time. There's like different things that you can do to change beliefs over time, right? I just so happened to have a powerful emotional experience in 2012 at that San Diego event, and that powerful emotional experience allowed me to have the opportunity to anchor a new belief internally, right? So what happens is with most people, the way that they're programmed or the way they create their unconscious beliefs is we have like a powerful emotional experience, we create a belief about ourselves or the world around us, and that becomes anchored inside of our subconscious mind. So we say to ourselves, so like let's say, like for example, here's a good one. Okay, this is a little bit close to home, but in 1996, I think, my parents split up, and after my parents split up, my dad, he kind of walked away for a little while. He took it all out on my brother and I. Like he kind of ignored my brother and I for a while as a way of like getting back at my mom. And there was a moment while this was all happening where I made up this decision, where I created this decision about myself that I was not lovable. And that's why my parents weren't together, right? That's why my dad wasn't talking to me. That's why my parents weren't happy. So I made this decision that I was not lovable, and that I was not worthy of love. Now, I did not know that I made that decision at that time. I've discovered that years later in 2009 while I was going through some courses, And I realized when I discovered that, I looked back over all the years in between that, and the evidence was everywhere. Right? Like I had a relationship with a girl, great girl, right? Awesome, total wifey material. Most dudes would just want to marry her, right? I totally like just pushed her out of my life because I had made up my mind that I'm not lovable, so she can't love me, right? There's something wrong with me, right? Are you crazy? Why would you love me? So I eventually pushed her out. Now the girlfriend before that, right? She treated me like shit. She beat me up. She scratched my face. She called me names. Oftentimes she would end conversations with "I fucking hate you. I hope you die," things like that. And I chased this girl down, right? I chased after that. I kept coming back for more. When she left me, I went and I kind of went a little. I was like super depressed. Right? I was like, oh, she's got to want me back somehow. Why? Why did I let that person treat me that way? Because I had a belief that I was not lovable. Right? And so I had this powerful emotional experience of my parents divorcing, my dad walking out, created this unconscious belief without even realizing it that it's because I'm not lovable. And then for like the next, 13 years, my life reflects that to me until I become aware of it and make the conscious decision to start changing it. So one shortcuts in like reprogramming our subconscious mind is in having powerful emotional experiences and then making a decision about ourselves or the world around us. Okay, so in 2012, when I was at that San Diego event with Dave Wood, there was just some things that he said, and it was just I would just happen to be that right person there in the right moment in the right mind frame. This was exactly what I needed to hear, and it just hit me. And I just felt it, like the emotions started flowing in, and I made up this new decision that I can create this, and the results have shown ever since. So I did not expect to get on here and be giving people a rundown about like psychology, but sure, I'm hoping whatever you guys want to know.
This is what we do. This is what we do. Well, this is so powerful, KEALA, because really, really powerful. I love what I would love to know, because it sounds like, if I put this in a nutshell, I mean, you were on the path. You started to, you were connecting with you're connecting with the courses, with audios, with books, with materials, and it started the work of transforming, and then you got yourself to the event with the intention. I'm guessing you might have had an intention to even to have a transformation, so that you can allow yourself to have what happened. Does that make any sense? Does that summarize it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely went to the event, and now if you're watching this right now, understand that when I made the decision to go to this event, I had nothing. Like I had no money. I was struggling to pay the bills. I didn't even live paycheck to paycheck. Like one paycheck ran out about maybe sometimes 2 to 3 days before the next paycheck arrived. I had nothing in savings, nothing in checking, like struggling. Yeah. And then I just made this decision that most people think about things in one form of price. Like people look at something and they think about the cost of buying it, or the cost of having it, or the cost of acquiring it, whatever it is, right? Most people only think about like price in a one-dimensional form, right? So they're faced with a buying decision, and they think about the price of me getting this right now is. And for me, when I was first learning about this event coming up in San Diego, I thought like that too. I was like, all right, so the cost of me going is way more than I have right now. Like way more. I mean, it might as well. There was times when I was like, this thing might as well be $1 million, man. Like I'm just like so far from having it, right? And then there was a moment though where I asked myself the question, what's the cost of me not going? What's the cost? What's the price I pay if I don't attend? Right? Did I want to live another 11 years as a struggling entrepreneur? right? Did I want to live another month, living on a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle? And I didn't. And so that was like that moment where I was like, I gotta go, right? So I went to the event, and I didn't necessarily know exactly what transformation I wanted to have. I just knew that, look, there is something to this thing. Like, way too many people are getting just ridiculous results here, and I'm not one of them yet. And I want to find out why. Like, what is this all about? How is this working? Like, what's the secret? What's happening? And so I think I didn't, although I didn't go with like a very clear intention of what I want to get out of it at the time. I did go with a very open mind, and I was wide open because I'd been struggling for a while, right? So I was like in this place where I was like, you know what, you just tell me whatever, and I'm just gonna go do it, all right? Because I can't continue to stay in this situation.
You're available to be coached. You're available for the information.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know, ladies, if you have any other stuff, but I want to bring up something because I would love to hear more on this. I saw you in a short little video clip where you were with Avram and Nikki headed to go screeching down the mountain. There was like that fun ride, and you were in the back of the car and you were talking, and you mentioned it for a split second in the video, and my ears just perked right up. You said something about having this attitude of connection, something about love and gratitude all the time, something like that. Do you remember what it is you meant? It was something about a perspective that you have that you work with now?
Wow, Valerie, that is like another hangout altogether.
Okay.
I could go on for like a day about just that. I'll see how well I can break it down though. How well I can simplify this. Einstein did, after all, say that if when we understand something, we can explain it simply. I'm paraphrasing, whatever. So maybe I don't fool very well yet if I can't say it simply. But the video that you're talking about is Avram was asking me, like, we just randomly shot this video about cheat codes, and I was talking about values, and basically our individual value systems. So something that I've been reading recently, there's a book called The Values Factor by Dr. John D. Martini. I probably learned more from Dr. John D. Martini that's like impacted me than any other author, speaker. I mean, he's just phenomenal teacher. And in the video, so, geez, how do I explain this in a simple way without going on a rant? Here's what I'd say: is at the bottom of the
Yeah.
There's so much I want to share right there on that topic. Everything is love, is what I'll bring it back to. Everything. Things that most people, and I like when I say everything, I literally mean everything. Think of everything. Everything you can think of. Think about all the things that you're not grateful for, that you're resentful about, that have happened, things that you're still sad or depressed about. Think about, some of the worst victims that you can think of in life, and I'll still say that all they experienced was love. And so it's really having the ability to perceive, to find that love. See, we live in a world where we have this thing called free will, right? So we have the freedom to perceive the world in any way that we so choose. And what happens is, as a result of that, is we become a reflection of our perceptions, right? So we perceive things as either good or bad, right or wrong, up or down, left or right, right? When in reality, when you break everything down to its simplest form, that nothing is necessarily right or wrong or good or bad. We as human beings create that judgment of it. And so, because we can perceive the world, and we need that perception. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. Like, we need to be able to make those judgments. It's like, this is good for me, this is bad for me, whatever, right? But as long as we live inside and like are trapped by those perceptions, then we don't get to experience the love that's happening. Okay, so most people think, right? Let's put it this way. So most people think, I want to, if somebody really loves me, they would never hurt me, right? I want to find this loving relationship where I can be happy all the time, right? Fact, maybe I have to be the one to tell you this, never going to happen. Never, right? Never going to happen that you're going to find like some magical relationship where you're just happy all the time, where the person never upsets you, right? Not going to happen. Because that's not what love is. Love is not this thing that feels good all the time, right? Because love is the balance, right? Love is the balance of good and bad. It's being able to bounce back and forth in between these two things. That's what love is. So we have things in our life that we perceive as challenges. And I believe personally that, and this is again from like studying a lot of stuff and reading from a lot of different authors, that's kind of like the universe's way, or let's say God's way, however you want to perceive it, of showing us love. Because love is not one-dimensional. We don't live in a one-dimensional world, right? We live in a world of duality. Mm-hmm. And while some people live inside of this illusion that they want to experience one end of the spectrum and not the other, mm-hmm. and what that ends up causing is this like stress, right? Like this dissatisfaction with life. I remember when I first started getting into personal development and like talking about the law of attraction and things like that. I had all these friends that like their goal was to be positive all the time. Like, my goal is to have only positive thoughts all the time. And Cal, I'm so frustrated because as much as I try to stay positive about this, that, and the other thing, this, and this happens, or this comes up, and I get pissed off, and I was there. I was one of those people. Right? I bought into that for a little bit. And what I found, though, is that that's not the goal. Like, that's not even possible. Right? Because it rejects half of what life is all about. And so when we can accept that, when we accept both ends, when we accept that duality, what I've found is that when I can balance it out, then I live inside of this state of love and gratitude more often. So instead of trying to resist what I think is bad, when I can welcome it in and say, where am I experiencing the opposite of this, right? And I can see the other positives that I'm experiencing. Then I can find this place of love and gratitude. So if we break it down even more specifically, Jesus, I wonder who's watching this thing right now, I thought, there got to be somebody on this thing that's like, I thought I was coming here to learn how to be a millionaire. You are, right? I'm teaching. This is like the real deal. So in every single moment, moment by moment, both are happening, good and bad, happy and sad, positive and negative, in every moment. See, because there can never be a moment in time when you understand that the universe is built on duality, that both have to exist equally, right? Then there can never be a moment in time when we're not experiencing both. They're both there, in every moment, right? But then we live inside of this perception. We live inside of ourselves, and we look out onto the world, and we perceive, this is really good. Oh my God! I just had a $3,000 commission come through. This shit's awesome, right? Life is amazing, right? And so we perceive this imbalance where we're looking at only the positive that's happening right now, mm-hmm. right? And when we live inside of that imbalance, well then, in order to balance us back out, something else has to come through. And then we look at I just drove, 5,000 visitors to my landing page and, nobody bought. This sucks, right? Let's say. I haven't had a sale in 2 weeks. Life is horrible, right? And then we're like perceiving only what's not going in our favor, right? Only what's not working out for us. But at both of those times in our life, let's say, at both of those times in our life, we're experiencing actually both. We're just choosing to perceive one over the other, right? And so what I've found is here's what I like to do, and I'm going to openly say that I'm not a master at this. I'm not like perfect at it. I don't do it all the time. It's not like I never have emotional upswings or downswings, but here's something that I've learned to do over time is I'll look at something, that's happening that's maybe, let's say, negative. What's an example from something recently? Okay, so I'll look at, let's say my girlfriend and I are having a conversation, maybe she's a little bit upset, right? Or I'm getting upset by the conversation. Now I'm thinking it's really personal, right? Well, let's just try this on for size. So we're having a conversation, maybe I'm getting a little bit frustrated by it, so I ask myself, okay, so what am I feeling right now? Let's say, frustration. Okay, so I ask myself, what is the opposite of frustration? Let's say peace. Okay, so who is reflecting to me right now peace? Right? And I'll look for that counterbalance. Where is the opposite taking place right now? It doesn't have to be necessarily taking place right there in that moment, but in that period of my life, there is somebody or something reflecting the opposite of what I'm feeling right now. And when I can balance those two charges, right? Those two charges, those two perceptions, then I can land in the space that is between them, that is love and gratitude. Love and gratitude. See, light is created in the universe when two complementary opposites collide, right? We create light. A lot of these spiritual people, they say, love and light. Why do they say that? Because they're both the same frequency. And so when we can balance out, right, inside of our mind, the complementary opposites that are taking place, then we experience light and love. And I get to live inside of this place of gratitude and experience more love in my life. Right? And there's, I could go on and on about this forever and give like really, really in-depth examples, but I'm hoping that maybe some of that made sense to like one person on here. And that's all I have to say on that.
It's making total sense to me. It's making total sense to me. The whole idea of contrast. I actually had a brief conversation recently with Michael Bernard Beckwith. I have access to him physically, and I asked him about why is there this separation? Why do you have all of this? Exactly what you're talking about. I wanted to hear what his perception of all this was, and his answer was that there needs to be contrast. The world was created with this contrast, because with it, that actually allows the love and the gratitude and everything you're talking about. I mean, I'm blown away that you're saying this, because I've been on a mission with this exact issue, this exact concept. So you're saying that when something happens, you ask yourself the question, and you look for the positive side of it somewhere in your life, and then feel gratitude about that in the moment, basically. Is that about?
Kind of. So I'm not looking for like the positive thing that's happening in order to feel gratitude about that. What I'm saying is I'm looking for the complementary opposite, because when the two come together, that's where love is. That's where the gratitude is. So now think about this. I do the same thing when I'm elated. Right? I do the same thing when I find a place where I'm like, like I go on vacation and I make 10 grand, right? Doing nothing but having fun, right? You easily get elated about that. You can see the expressions on my face I'm talking about. I'm like, this is just awesome, right? Right? That's elation. I don't want to live inside of that space too much either, right? Because what happens is, then my mind is imbalanced again, and it's just that it's imbalanced in the favor of elation, excitement, joy. And I'm not saying that those things are necessarily bad. I'm just saying, like, what happens is in most people's lives, we live on this roller coaster. They're like, oh man, everything's so good. Oh my god, oh shit, it's horrible. You know, I don't even want to be here anymore. Oh my god, things are going so well. And we live on this roller coaster, right? And you know, I don't want to like experience like these extreme highs and these like terrible lows, and extreme highs and terrible lows. And one of the ways that we avoid that is just to balance out in between those two. And this, you know, I was actually in a class once that said that in between those two is like neutral, and this is where people numb out. And that's not true. What I found is like in between those two, and the perfect balance of those two is love. And when we're in the space of love, we immediately feel gratitude. The two go hand in hand. And so I'll do the same thing when I'm elated. Right? When I'm really excited about something, is I'll ask myself, okay, so what am I feeling right now? I'm feeling excitement. Okay, what is the opposite of excitement? And it's just asking myself what the answer is in that moment. It changes from moment to moment, right? And I say, what is the opposite of what I'm feeling right now? Frustration. Okay, so where or who is reflecting frustration to me right now? And then I'll find that complementary opposite, so I can bring myself back to balance and feel love. So the goal is to stay in love and gratitude more often than not. Now, again, I'm saying it's not that I ever experience these imbalances, right? It's just that I do my best to balance myself out, so that the universe isn't doing it for me. Is that's where the frustration and like this like roller coaster comes in.
Wow.
So you're making choice. You're making choice. You're making a decision about how you are experiencing the world. You make a decision about where you're coming from. It's supposed to be like just a knee-jerk reaction to stuff around you. You're creating. Is that
right? Yeah. I'm making a decision to find center, right? Like people talk about being centered, feeling centered all the time, and being in alignment. I love, like, if you listen to language, if you listen to words that people use, it says a lot about the world around us. Like, just words themselves are like really amazing clues as to like what's happening with someone and how the universe works. Really cool stuff. Again, another hangout. Okay, so when we say things like alignment or feeling centered, right, those give us clues as to what we're really looking for. What we're really looking for ultimately is that balance. That's the goal, right? That's the goal, is to know that I'm in every single moment I'm loved by whatever this higher power is, whatever you want to call it. The only thing that it can ever express to me is love. Right?
Powerful, KEALA. So it sounds like you're saying, in order to stay in that state, if we just find balance, create balance in our life, we'll stay in a loving state of gratitude and all that good stuff. Yeah? All right, so listen, we have a question from one of our viewers, and it's going to take you back, bring us back in a little bit more about that business you were talking about. And Julia's asking, you mentioned San Diego, and she wants to know, after you left San Diego and had that transformation, what marketing methods did you start implementing right away after you left San Diego?
I started running fast and breaking stuff. I just went like balls out. I mean, I just started posting stuff on like on my Facebook timeline. I bought a bunch of like traffic that didn't really turn into too much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was like mostly like just posting stuff on Facebook to my friends, and I bought a bunch of like solo ads and some CPC stuff, and most of it really didn't turn into anything. It was a good learning experience though. That was the thing. It was a good learning experience.
Cool.
Like I had all these like campaigns that didn't work, and all I got from what I got from that was like, okay, so this is what doesn't work right now. Right? What I do that does work. I mean, if somebody wants to know what I do right now to earn the income I earn, I do Facebook marketing, paid Facebook ads. Here's the thing, though, is like, you know, in case someone's missing the point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Because like, if you put me next to the right next to the next guy, right? We can literally write. We will write the same campaign, right? We'll take a same photo, same ad photo, right? Write the exact same headline, write the exact same body, follow up with the email list with the exact same emails, and the person who has the belief that they're going to succeed is the person who's going to get the best results at the end of the day. So I always tell people like on my team, you know, they're asking me what am I doing, and I give them training about what I'm doing and stuff. And at the end of the day, I tell them like, look, work on you harder than you work on your business.
Mm-hmm.
Work on you harder than you work on your business, and find the strategy that fits you. Right? Facebook advertising, it fits me. It's something I enjoy doing. It's become a little like a game for me. But at the end of the day, you know, I have other people on my team succeeding with YouTube marketing. You know what I mean? Because that's like their deal. They like shooting videos. You know, maybe they're kind of a ham. They like being in front of the camera. So they succeed with YouTube marketing. And they're more of like the analytical mind that wants to go out and like research keywords and stuff like that, right? So it really comes down to like, who are you? How do you express yourself? Right? What marketing strategy helps you best express who you are? Go do that.
Yeah.
Right? And understand that whatever results you get are not necessarily a reflection of the traffic, not necessarily a reflection of, you know, and I'm not saying that they're not at all a reflection of those things. That's just part of the equation. At the end of the day, it comes down to you. And you know, once I discovered that, like once I stopped, like one of the biggest. Okay, so. Alicia, you asked like what was the biggest breakthrough I had.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, here's the biggest breakthrough I had personally that really launched me to where I am right now. It was like the predecessor of like I wouldn't have been in the space to receive what took place in San Diego had I not had this original breakthrough. Is I was going through a time in my life. Actually, my girlfriend had left me. Oh, you guys have heard me talk about this on stage before. My girlfriend had left me. I had no idea why, right? And I'm like floundering around emotionally, like just trying to keep my head above water. And what happened was, for the very first time, I was looking back over my life and like all these things that have happened, like all the relationships that are torn and tattered, and you know, how the hell did I end up here, and why am I not where I want to be, and da-da-da. And for the very first time, I asked myself, what if it's me? That was the breakthrough. Right? When I stopped blaming it on my brother, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend, other friends, my job, my boss, you know, the economy, the president, the traffic, right? Wasn't there? I stopped blaming it on everything else, and I said, well, what if it's me? For the first time, I got to the root. Remember what we were talking about earlier?
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, I got to the root. And I realized that I can't change all those other people, but I can change me. It was a very empowering question to ask. And so now in my life, you know, I look at like, if I'm not getting the results that I want to have, then how am I showing up? What's going on with me that needs to change, shift, grow, adapt, be let go of, to get me there?
Powerful.
Very powerful.
Right, thank you.
And so when you're in this place of you've got the balanced place of love for you, it's a love and trust of the universe, of universe really, of everything working in order. Everything is in its right place, and if you just keep taking the next step, like if you do an ad and it fails, you just go, okay, this is going to give me information of what to do next. Is that about what you do in terms of sort of an ongoing perspective? Does that make? Or did I get that off?
Well, I'm not quite sure I understand the question. So.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the question is so I'm sort of like tying it back. You got this place of really asking yourself the question, and instead of going into a self, beating yourself up place, you went, I can change this. And you've now been doing all this stuff, you're going to the events and you're digging into all of the materials and everything, and all, the books and the others and everything else, and you've come to this place of a perception that no matter what is going on, you've got this place of love and gratitude. And it's affecting your ads, it's affecting your communication, it affects everything. And I guess I was wanting maybe just to elaborate more for that. What if you were to describe what that is? What is the love? What is the gratitude? Is it, because it sounded like you said it was something of like a really sort of expansive view of the universe in a way, or God, or whatever you want to call it. So that to have that perspective as you're going through things, so that no matter what happens, you just know everything's okay and you're moving forward. Is that?
Yeah. So the benefit of that space, okay, is that when we're in that space, we experience inspiration. So it's the difference between being inspired and being passionate. So like most people, like they're looking for, what is the thing that I'm passionate about, or I need to have more passion in my life, or I want to have more passion in my relationship, or more passion in my business. And the challenge with passion is that it's a volatile state. Go look up the definition of the word passion. It actually means to suffer, right? Like if you actually look up the language that we use, it'll give you a lot of hints as to how it is how we show up. But passion is like it's a place that people search for that is extremely volatile and causes suffering. Now it's better to be passionate than it is to be apathetic, right?
Right.
So there's let's say there's a scale of emotions that you can experience, right? Let's say apathy is like absence of feeling is like probably maybe down there at the bottom, and then there's like want, desire, and then there's somewhere around there there's passion. And then beyond passion, there's inspiration, right? And so when we're inspired about something, then we move forward in pursuit of it, regardless of the negatives and the positives. So when somebody's inspired about something, right? Like you take a lot of people get started in a business, right? Like this business, and they're not. They're not asked, they're not necessarily really inspired about making more money. So what happens when somebody who's not inspired starts a business? Well, they want to experience only positives and no negatives, right? They're not willing to move forward in pursuit of the money in the presence of both things. So the minute that they perceive that there are more challenges than there are benefits, they quit, right? But you look at like a mother, for example. Many mothers, not all, but many, are inspired about their children. Right? So they will pursue rearing their children in the presence of both positive and negative. No mother's ever going to say that raising children is just positive all the time. It's just the happiest thing I've ever done. Right? No mom says that. Right? I know two of you on here, I know Greta has like 6 children, I think.
Yeah.
So no mom ever says that, right? It's both a challenge and a reward. But because they're inspired to do it, they will move forward despite the challenges. They will equally experience, good and bad, right and wrong, negative and positive, in pursuit of the goal of rearing their children. Yeah. Because they're inspired by it. Right? And so when we can live inside of this place of inspiration, then there is never a challenge too big, no obstacle too large. Right? Because we're motivated from within, instead of trying to find motivation without. Does that answer your question? Like why that whole love and gratitude thing comes into play? Right?
Because you're in a space of inspiration for your life and for everything, basically, to just keep moving forward. So if what would and ladies, if something else, I keep coming up with all these questions. I love Alicia, Keisha, Greta. You have any other questions? Otherwise, I got one more here.
I know Keisha does.
Well, actually, Greta, you haven't said anything. If you wanted to just chime in, that's fine. I actually, KEALA, wanted to ask you. You mentioned the book of the value factor. I usually like to ask our guests maybe the top 3 books that had the most impact on your belief system. I know you had some transformations. You said that's what's really important, and that is the key. So if you could, let our viewers know maybe those top 3 books. Besides the value factor, and I actually needed you to just let me know who was the author of that book. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I'll give you that in a second. So the top 3 books, book number 1, by a large margin, far exceeding all others, would be The Breakthrough Experience by Dr. John D. Martini. Another good book, which is top 3, is kind of on what topic exactly? Like, I have books like Mind Control Language Patterns that I think is a really good book, right? But, you said in regards to my belief system. Okay, so Breakthrough Experience, definitely the best one I've ever read. The Values Factor, also by Dr. John D. Martini, is a really, really good book. It really helps, awaken what's going on unconsciously that's driving you, and then gives you exercises to change it. And then top 3.
Well, who did write Mind Control Language Patterns?
I forget that author's name.
Okay.
Devant. Avant. I forget.
That's cool. Thank you. I mean, I'll read it. I mean, our viewers would be so great to get that information, and I'm sure they're going to want to jump right on that, KEALA. Greta, did you have anything that you wanted to ask KEALA?
I've been staying quiet for a couple of different reasons. My computer just seems to want to make a whole lot of noise right now, and it's been kind of driving me a little crazy. Although I've just been listening and enjoying all the questions being asked by you wonderful ladies, and just actually just from where we started with the title of this hangout with you, KEALA, it just really just took us through the whole naked truth, really. And I mean, you really shared so much about yourself, about your story, and you got really personal about a lot of different things. And I just want you to know how much I myself appreciate that, and I know you watching right now appreciate that too. It's just that true authenticity and just being able to just be absolutely real and just share those things that are so powerful, because I mean, that's just it, it's not about the marketing strategies that you're doing and all the technical stuff. It's the energy behind it, and that's what I've always felt, and that's what I'm seeing and feeling from you, KEALA. It's just, I really appreciate that, and I hope that you watching right now, that you really truly take that into consideration in your business and realize that, what he's saying, listen to it. Listen to it, take it to heart, and rewatch it, listen to the replay, take your notes, and really read those books, because it will take your life and your business to the next level. I mean, it's just so important, and I really appreciate that true authenticity and that bareness of heart and soul that you shared on the hangout with us today. I just much gratitude and appreciation for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of thanks, Greta. I'm for the most part, I'm pretty much an open book, so I mean, ask me anything. open book.
Well, we do have a kind of a personal question that was asked.
Yeah.
We have a open book question that audience asked. How are you happy with your present relationship with your girlfriend?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Because it goes in full circle with all your new relationships now. You know, as you're opening this book, you want to keep it all loving and open, and you know.
No,
And
good question. And yes, and it wasn't always that way, but yes, we're happily together, and I'd say a lot of what I've learned. A lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you guys is like it infects or affects every aspect of life, you know, including my relationship. So I'm able to have more positive relationships now too because of the stuff that I'm sharing with you, along with having more success, more money, you know, better marketing, and all that good stuff.
So, question for you: if you would have one piece of advice, there might be some folks that that might be watching this because they're on your list, or maybe they're they got an email from us and they're watching it on Facebook, and they're maybe they've watched you before or come across this before, maybe not. If you had a piece of advice for them, especially if they're wanting to connect with us and connect with what it is that we do and have more intimate contact, what would you recommend? What would you say? What would be a piece of advice to the business? What would you say?
I would say pull out your credit card and buy right now. Like, that's the truth. That's just honest.
And there's a button right there.
If you're watching this right now and you are not already working with us, then the best advice I can possibly give you is to pull out your credit card right now and buy. Just click the button below this Hangout. I'm not even sure what page this thing is on right now. I didn't go check the page yet, but I'm sure that there is a buy button on the page. And right now, as you're watching this, you might see that button pulsating just a bit. You may even feel as if it's calling your name, and you might, as you're listening to this, feel this gut feeling inside that right now you're ready to make a decision, and just pull out your credit card and buy now and get in. And why would I say that? I'd say because one of the most powerful things that I've experienced in this business in particular is a community of people that have these conversations. Probably one of the best things I've had. Right? I was just telling a friend of mine the other day that better than all the money that I'm making, better than the life, better than the vacations that I get to take now, and better than a lot of what I'm experiencing on the surface. Below that, the thing I really enjoy most is the relationships that I've been able to create as a result of this business. The amazing people that I'm able to meet, the amazing relationships that I have now, the amazing mentors that I have in my life. Because this is the first time I've ever been a part of something where the emphasis really, when you break it down and you get down to what's really being said at the base level, right? The emphasis is on growing. It's on all of these things that we're talking about on this Hangout. So I do honestly believe that the best decision that you can make right now, if you're not already on the team, is to buy. Now.
Taking action. Click the link below. Thank you so much, KEALA, for all your wisdom and insights to help us really analyze and pick that out. It really took me back to, I think, in San Diego, that presentation that Rob Ford gave us. Was it in San Diego? Man, I've listened to him several times, but he talked about that back and forth, happy and sad, and even use it with music in tons of ways. So totally differently. Go through this again and see how you can apply it. And take action now. Anything else, and we'll end the Hangout, guys.
No.
Now that we finally see Keisha's face.
Start binding, and we can see you on the other side and connect with you. And we'll do the level.
Yeah.
Thank you. So next week, it's going to be my birthday, and we're going to have Tracy Walker. So you guys come out and listen to Tracy have the transformation too. So with my birthday. Have a great day. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.